All right, today we're going to talk about writing equations of lines. Remember, slope is rise over run. And what else could it be? So think about that for a minute. So we have rise over run. What I say is wise over run. Wise rhymes with rise. Run, I have to have my little X with some shoes on so he can run across the bottom. Also, we talk about this being change in Y over the change in X. So really that's your equation right there. Change in Y over change in X, which that leads us to our equation, which is slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're going to look at a couple problems here. I just want you to find the slope. So remember, this is your x, your y, your y. So I have slope equals y2 is 2 minus a negative 2 over negative 1 minus 3. A negative and a negative is a positive, so I have 4 over negative 4, which my slope is negative 1. I'm not going to do another one. Here's another example here. I will show you one in a chart. So in a chart, remember, you're just picking two of those points. I don't care which two. I always just pick the first two because it's probably going to be your smallest numbers. So slope equals 5 minus 2 over 8 minus 4. Slope equals 3 over 4. So my slope is 3/4. Writing equations given the slope and the y-intercept. So when I'm writing an equation and I am giving you a slope and a y-intercept, that means you are using y equals mx plus b. Now, I want you to know this is the first of many equations on this homework that you're going to have to know. So super easy when I have something like this, y equals 5/8 x minus 6. That's your answer. I'm not going to do number 2. Let's look at number 3. So number 3, I'm just given 2 points, or actually I have 3. So I'm going to pick 2 that you can use. So you can pick these 2. Or I can say y equals mx plus b. B is the y-intercept, where it's crossing the y-axis. Where is it crossing the y-axis? At a positive 1. My slope is down and then to the right. So that means it has to be negative. So I'm down 1, 2, 3, to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 3 to the right 4. And then that is the equation for that line. All right, so this is the second one. The second one is point slope form for the equation of a line. So if you will recall, point slope, you have to have a point and you have to have a slope. Duh, right? So I have to have a slope and I have to have a point. The equation is y2 minus y1 equals m times x2 minus x1. Now, if I give you a slope and a point, you are plugging into this equation. So I have y minus 3 equals 5 x minus 1. I distribute that 5, y minus 3 equals 5x minus 5. I add 3 to both sides. I get y equals 5x minus 2. That's my answer. Okay, so here's another example of that. You can practice on your own. So now if I'm asking you to write an equation that has 2 points, so I'm actually asking you to write the equation of the line. which means the first thing I'm doing is I'm finding the slope. The second thing I'm doing is I'm plugging it into the point slope. All right, so first thing I do, find slope. Slope equals, this is x, y, so I get 0 minus 1 over 3 minus a negative 1. Negative and negative makes a positive, so I get negative 1 over 3. The second thing I do is I'm plugging it into your point slope. So now that I have a slope and I have a point, I pick whatever point you want. I'm picking 3, 0 because I think with that 0, that's going to make it really easy for me. So I'm going to have y minus 0 equals negative 1/3 times x minus 3. Now I have y equals negative 1/3 x plus 1. I just distribute that. That's the equation of that line. So, for example, on number 2, I would not pick the ones with decimals. That's going to be really hard. So I would pick these two, and I would find the slope, and then I would find my line. So I'm going to pause here. You're going to work it, and I'll work it, and you can check. So check your answers, see if you got the same thing, and also notice when I pick one to plug in, I pick this point right here because it doesn't have any negatives and its numbers are pretty small, so I use that one to plug in. You can choose whatever you want. So same thing here, I have 2 points, find the slope, and write the equation. All right, so now, whoops. Crazy thing. So now we're going to do parallel and perpendicular lines. So with parallel and perpendicular, parallel, remember that means they have the same slope, but different intercepts. Different y-intercepts. So a symbol for parallel is diagonal lines. I will use that all the time. Perpendicular, symbol upside down T. And this is opposite sign, reciprocal of number. So an example, if I have 1/3, then my perpendicular slope for that would be -3. If I have 2, my perpendicular slope would be -1/2. So if I want you to find a perpendicular line that's perpendicular to this line and going through that point. So the first thing I want you to do is find the slope. So I'm going to take 5x plus 5y, oh, not 5y, 2y equals 8, and I'm solving for y. So I'm subtracting 5x, subtract 5x. I get 2y equals -5x plus 8. I divide by 2. I get y equals -5/2 x plus 4. So the second part that you're going to do, is going to be using the point slope formula. Having troubles here. I'm going to use the point slope formula because now I have a point and a slope. So I want the slope that is perpendicular. I'm finding a perpendicular line. So my perpendicular slope would be 2/5, and I'm using the 0.53. So y minus 3 equals 2/5 x minus 5. Y minus 3 equals 2/5 x minus 2. I'm going to add 3. The equation of this line is y equals 2/5 x plus 1. You have to be able to find the perpendicular slope. You have to use this point and that slope in order to find that line. You can't randomly pick a y-intercept. You have to go through that point and using that slope. So please make sure and do that. You guys tend to just make stuff up, so don't do that. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a line through 3, 7, and it's parallel to the line whose slope is here. So I have to find the slope. So slope. So I'm going to say, remember this is your x, y, x, y. So I have slope equals -7 minus 3 over -1 minus 4. Slope equals -10 over -5. So my slope is 2. I want my slope that is parallel to that to do the next one. So my parallel slope, which you will need to show me, equals 2 because they're the same. And then it's going through that point, so you have to use 3, 7. So now I have y minus 7 equals 2 times x minus 3. I get y minus 7 equals, distribute that 2, I get 2x minus 6. I add 7, I get y equals 2x plus 1. That's my answer. It's a lot of work to show, but you're going to have to show it in order to get points, especially on a quiz or a test. On homework, I still won't accept it. So make sure and show me the work that you have to get get here and find my equation. If you have questions, come into seminar or after school Zoom.